today we're talking about the new limited edition r.e.m Beauty Dangerous Woman collection, and I have some thoughts. When I first heard Dangerous Woman Anniversary Collection, I was expecting some drama. I was expecting glitter, lashes, smoky eyes, maybe even some matte lips. Now this collection has been released in honor of the 10-year anniversary of Ariana Grande's album Dangerous Woman. Like, this album era was such a defining beauty era online. Instead, this feels weirdly safe. So in today's video, we're going to break down the entire collection, the packaging, what the community thinks, and whether this actually captures the Dangerous Woman era or if it completely misses the point. Also, at the time that I'm filming this, there are actually no prices on the products. I'm guessing they'll be similarly priced to other products that r.e.m Beauty has released, but I will pop the prices on screen for you if they're available by the time this video goes up. Alright, so let's get into it. So first of all, let's talk about the packaging, because this is probably the strongest part of the collection for me. Normally, r.e.m Beauty has that futuristic metallic aesthetic, which has honestly become really recognizable for the brand. But for this collection, they've swapped everything to an almost matte black with an embossed bunny mask inspired by the Dangerous Woman album cover. And I actually do like the packaging. The bunny mask is instantly recognizable, although I did kind of think Playboy immediately, I'm not gonna lie. But even people who aren't massive Ariana Grande fans probably immediately associated the imagery with the album. It is iconic branding. Conceptually, the black packaging does also make sense, because Dangerous Woman as an era was darker, moodier, and more mature than some of Ariana Grande's earlier aesthetics. But here's where things start to fall apart for me a little bit. The packaging is giving Dangerous Woman, however, the makeup inside is not. That's kind of the biggest issue with this collection overall. I feel like they designed the outside first and then filled it with very standard, everyday products instead of actually designing something inspired by the era itself. Because when I think of Dangerous Woman, I think of smoky eyes, dramatic lashes, liquid lipstick, glitter, dramatic glam, and full beat 2016 makeup. And this collection just feels very clean girl coded. Minimal, soft, subtle, almost no risk-taking whatsoever. Which is so strange for an album literally called Dangerous Woman. So let's start with the main product in the eyeshadow collection, the Sweet Dreams Eyeshadow Quad. This is apparently inspired by the makeup looks Ariana was wearing from the Dangerous Woman era. And the palette has 4 shades: a shimmering silver, a matte soft brown, a matte cream, and a shimmering white. And I'm sorry, but the palette is painfully basic. Like, I genuinely think this is possibly one of the safest color stories they could have chosen for a collection named Dangerous Woman. Even if they wanted to stay wearable, there were so many ways where they could have done this and still made it exciting. Imagine black sparkle shadows, wet look metallics, deep smoky browns, glitter toppers, gunmetal shades. But instead we basically got white shimmer, silver shimmer, brown matte, and beige matte. And the issue isn't even necessarily neutral colors, because neutral palettes can still feel exciting. The problem is that there's barely any contrast or depth here. You've only got 4 shades, and even then they don't create that many different looks. Personally, I don't think you'd get very much use out of this palette unless you're someone who only wears very minimal makeup. And then that's where I think the collection starts conflicting its own branding. Because on the r.e.m Beauty website, they have the tagline, "Self-expression without boundaries." But where exactly is the self-expression? What boundary is being pushed here? Because this feels like makeup designed to offend absolutely nobody. And sometimes that's okay for a standard release, but anniversary collections are supposed to feel special. This was the opportunity to really lean into the nostalgia, and they just didn't. And apparently I'm not alone in feeling this way, because the response online has been rough. It seems like most people have been pretty underwhelmed by this collection. One of the comments I read on Instagram said, "The idea is cute, but the execution is boring." And honestly, that perfectly sums up how I feel. The concept itself is strong. Dangerous Woman Anniversary Collection, amazing idea, but the execution feels incredibly safe. Another person said, "Wake me up when a brand drops something interesting." And I feel like that reflects a bigger issue happening in the beauty space right now. Everything is becoming very minimalist. Very neutral, very clean girl, very everyday wearable. And while that works commercially, people have started to crave creativity again. Especially with celebrity brands. Because if you're doing an anniversary launch tied to a visually iconic era, people expect storytelling. They expect personality. Another comment I saw said, "I'm sorry, but the palette is so boring." Honestly, yeah. And I think the reason people are reacting so strongly is because Dangerous Woman had such a defined aesthetic. This wasn't an era that lacked visual inspiration. There was so much they could have pulled from. And this comment really stood out to me. I wish she would have changed up her makeup in the promo shots to fit better with the Dangerous Woman era. Looks like Glinda doing a bunny photo shoot. And I honestly kind of agree. The promo makeup still feels very current Ariana. Very soft glam, very polished, very minimal. But the actual Dangerous Woman era makeup was heavier. It was peak 2016 glam YouTube era makeup. Like if you were on beauty YouTube in 2016, you know the exact makeup I'm talking about. Huge lashes, sharp wing liner, matte lips, heavy bronzer, intense highlight, and dramatic smoky eyes. That era had distinct beauty identity. So it is strange seeing a collection inspired by that time period while visually distancing itself from the aesthetic that made that era iconic in the first place. It almost feels like they wanted the nostalgia marketing without committing to the nostalgia visually. So moving on, next in the collection we have two essential Drip Glossy Balms. The first shade is Forever Boy, which is described as a cool mauve with shimmering pearl. And this one looks fine, nothing groundbreaking, but it is wearable. And then we have the shade New Better, which is a pH adaptive balm. And I'm just gonna say it, I am tired of pH changing products. I am tired. Every brand keeps marketing these as personalized shades when they all turn into the exact same pink tone. And I feel like this was such a huge missed opportunity because I feel like they could have done either a matte or a satin lipstick and this would have connected so much more with the Dangerous Woman era. Instead, we got another pH balm, which feels very trendy now, but not very Dangerous Woman. And I think that's the core issue with the whole collection. It's definitely very trend driven for 2026, but it doesn't really connect me back to the Dangerous Woman era. So there is one final product in the collection and probably the one that has had the most thought put into it. It is the Dangerous Woman lip mask in the shade Every Day. And this comes in a black tube with a bunny mask charm dangling from the end. And I'll give credit where it's due, this is cute. It's probably my favorite product in the collection. This is probably the one product where the branding, packaging, and concept all feel cohesive. And the formula is supposed to contain hydrators and tripeptides to strengthen the moisture barrier and give pillowy comfort all day long. And from what I can see in the photos, it's just a light pink glossy lip mask that goes on relatively sheer. Again, formula-wise, it sounds nice, and I think the packaging is definitely the standout. But I also do think it's kind of telling that the most exciting product is essentially skincare adjacent. Because when people think Dangerous Woman, I don't think people immediately think hydrating lip treatment. I think the biggest reason this collection isn't landing with people is because it doesn't emotionally connect to the era it's representing. And nostalgia marketing only works when people feel the nostalgia. This feels like they took the Dangerous Woman branding and laid it onto modern r.e.m products without actually making any products that embody the era. Even the product selection feels a little strange. One small quad, two glossy balms, and one lip mask. That is the whole collection. No lashes, no eyeliner, no dramatic lip products, no highlighter, no glitter, and no face products. Nothing that really screams Dangerous Woman. And honestly, this could have been such a cool collection. Imagine black sparkle glosses, cool toned contour, silver chrome pigments, dramatic lashes, smoky eye pencils, matte nude lip kits, body shimmer. There was so many directions they could have gone, and instead it just feels very restrained. Overall, I don't think the collection is terrible, it's just a bit disappointing. Which honestly might be worse, because the concept had so much potential and people were genuinely excited for it. The packaging is strong, the bunny mask detail is iconic, and the lip mask is cute. But the actual makeup itself feels very safe, very basic, and very disconnected from the album era it's supposed to represent. And judging by the online response, a lot of people feel the same way. I think if you already love subtle everyday makeup and you're an Ariana Grande fan, you'll probably enjoy this collection for the collector aspect alone. But if you're hoping for a true Dangerous Woman inspired glam collection, then you might feel quite underwhelmed. But I want to know what you guys think, because maybe I'm being too harsh. Do you like the collection? Do you think the collection really encaptures the Dangerous Woman era? Or do you think this collection completely missed the mark? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Well, I'm gonna leave this video here. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you want to see any other content I don't create here, check out my Instagram at makeupwithalex. All of my social medias are linked down below. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!